record. Okay. So William, this type of article is just review, right? You read so many times about this type of mindfulness and so forth, right?
I still found it helpful because I Vipassana was a little blurry for me versus Samatha, and seeing how, the author contrasted them, I still found it helpful to kind of clear up in each individual one.
Okay. And Stephen, these two articles is understandable for you?
Yes, it was understandable.
Okay. And those articles is understandable?
Dạ, mô Phật thầy, con đọc được. Dạ.
Okay.
No, yes, I understood. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. David, you read these two articles attend to you, Debbie?
Yes, I did. I found them both easy to understand and very informative. I took notes so I wouldn't forget.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? Okay, let's and after we discuss about, let's say, the chapter, I think sorry, I need to turn on with the chapter that under the trees, it talk about sorry, let me open this. So based upon this book, I pull out this beneath a rose apple tree. You remember? You know that? Can you mind to talk about this one briefly?
So it introduces his mom and the tree that she gave birth there in the park. And then it kind of illustrates how the young Siddhartha was probably like a meditation genius, even as a young boy, that he probably had some extraordinary skills in a lot of things. They it kind of paints him as a sort of boy genius, can do everything very well, and he's very liked and very thoughtful.
Becca, can you hear her? Oh, good. Okay. All right. So, and Stephen, have you read that story? Let me share with you. This one here. This one here, beneath chapter 6, beneath the rose apple tree. You read this story?
I did read that quite a few weeks, more like quite a few months back. However, I did not go back to refresh my memory a little bit.
Hey, have you read this chapter?
Yeah, yeah. This chapter talk about Siddhartha, about his mother dream and how his mother has to follow the tradition to go back to her home country to give birth to her son, and then she stopped by Mumbani Park and gave birth to him, and then she died 8 days later. And then it talk about so when there was it talk about how Siddhartha went to school and how he was a very good student. And also talk about so when the king invited the wise man to come over and gave a prediction about what is he going to be like when he grow up, like to be a king or to be a monk. So this king prefer his son to be a king instead of a monk. And then later on, it talk about so when Siddhartha he saw a group of people that was digging the ground, and he saw that there was a dead worm, and a bird came to eat the worm, and then a big bird came to eat a little bird. And he saw that it's making him very sad. So he came to sit under the rose apple tree and try to understand what is happening. He came to realize that that reciting the I don't remember, reciting the sutra by the Brahmin, that does it help with what happening.
Okay. Now here, let me make a correction. So his mom passed away 7 days after he was born, not 8 days. And when he sat under this rose apple tree, at that time he was only 10, 11, 12. He didn't read any story, any books. He just contemplate, follow his breath, and they say that he entered the first stage of samadhi. And later on, when he practiced self-torture or assisted practice, and he remember when he was little, he attained the first stage of meditation, so he gave up the assisted practice. Yes. Yes.
With the first stage of samadhi.
We call the first stage of meditation.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone can attain that. Yeah.
Okay.
Whether they are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. All right, so that's all for this chapter. That because based upon this chapter, I go out again to talk the mindfulness. Where is this? Where it come from? So I think most of us know. Michael, would you like to talk briefly about this article? How much you understand about this?
Well, I mean, I guess what I got out of it was, being mindful of, I guess, everything that's going on around you, including the littlest of things. They might not seem like much to you, but, to somebody else, it might mean a lot.
Okay, yeah. And Stephen, how much you understand about these articles?
In a general sense, it's just pretty much knowing that all around us that things will happen, I guess, and then in a sense that you can pretty much do your best and try to control that. Once you understand, you need to learn how to accept things happen the way it is, so that way you will understand how to act upon it. Because most of the time, how human nature, things happen and you always act on your emotion, everything from sadness to happiness. If it makes you angry or afraid, then of course that can lead to more of aggression and everything else, and you're trying to basically react on it incorrectly when you need to basically just take a step back and mindfully thinks that things happen for a reason, so you can act accordingly correctly instead of just on your pure emotion, which is, I believe, what the intention of originally when he wanted to study mindfulness, Buddha, that was when he was learning himself. I don't remember which chapter it was, but I thought that it explained a little bit about just this topic here. So, but that's pretty much a general sense of what I get out of it. Now, the details, of course, going further takes a little bit more learning and, of course, practice. So, more.
Yeah, Becca, we almost finished that mindfulness class. So again, up to now, how much you understand about mindfulness, what is that, and so forth. You want to share, Becca, please?
Yes, I understand so far.
No, I mean that could you summarize what is mindfulness and so forth?
Oh,
Your understanding up to now.
So basically from the class, I've learned mindfulness is being able to focus on one thing and not focusing on everything around you and how it's affecting your emotions and the other things around you. Just calming yourself and focusing so that you're able to do the best of your ability for that particular task and not worrying about the future and other things. That's kind of what I got.
Okay. Would you like to share the meditation practicums that we have in October for 4 hours? Not straight 4 hours, but we have a group of students to do together, even online. You like to share your experience with that?
Maybe next time.
Okay, that's all right. Okay. And December, I think, let me check it out one more time. The schedule. December 27th to January the 3rd. January the 2nd, right? January the 3rd, the 2nd. Yes, we will do meditation here.
To the 27th.
27th of December. Yeah. And until I think January, I think up to Sunday. Yeah.
So all day or?
All day, like you were not here, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. So William, do you have times during that period you can come down to do meditation, to sit with us then?
Yeah, I'm gonna when we're done, I'll go on my phone and look and see what time I can block off to be there. Is it okay if it's like the later part?
No, no problem. You can attend the whole session, you attend half day or 1 hour. It's up to you. So no problem. Yeah, it's open for everyone.
Meditation, I can't.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Yeah, here. Yeah. I know you don't know how to chat, so don't worry. Yeah. Yeah. And Michael, if you can come and join with us, that's great too. Right.
Look at my calendar, see what I can do.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. So again, learning without practicing, we could not recognize much benefit. Yeah. So again, William, how much you understand about these articles?
Yeah. This article really like defined mindfulness and acknowledged like its origins in Buddhism and how it is cultivated. So mindfulness is the like in the moment, recognizing phenomena as they arise and refraining from identifying with them, either through like attachment to them or like pursuing them further if they're pleasant, or aversion to them. And even we can even be mindful of like an automatic attachment or aversion once we notice we're doing that. So those states aren't hindrances to mindfulness. But once we're being mindful, as we notice a phenomena, ideally we're noticing the phenomena as it arises, and we're neither attached or averse. It's just it is how it is. And I liked how in the article they say it's mindfulness is essential, but it's not the whole thing of Buddhist practice. It's one of the factors in the Eightfold Path, but it's in balance with these other things, where if we wish to really cultivate mindfulness, well, we need to like align some other things with respect to like what sort of work are we doing? Are we sensitive? Are we showing a sensitivity to the concerns of other beings? Because if we're a butcher, for instance, well, then that means we're not really being mindful of the experience of the animal and the process of it being killed. So there are some like actions we need to take in order to like open up the door so we can really become more mindful, and also showing how it works well together with concentration. How if our mind is just so scattered, we may want to be mindful, but then we're like, okay, how am I mindful? All right, I'm trying to be mindful. I'm being mindful that I'm trying to be mindful, but I think I should stop thinking. I'm mindful that I think I should stop thinking. And we can kind of like chase our tails. So the balance with concentration, where we can focus on one object initially and allow our mind to calm down, is a really good foundation to begin to then like in Vipassana. So samatha is like where we're focusing on one thing and we're maintaining our focus, and we're mindful of when our focus drifts, and then we bring our focus back, we redirect it back to that thing, like our breath. But in Vipassana, once the mind's calm enough, we're simply being mindful of whatever is the center of our attention. So at some time, it may be a sensation in our body, it may be a feeling, it may be some form of thinking, or it may be like, a dharma, a teaching that we recollect, given something that's occurring in our mind. And then also mindfulness is really interrelated to loving kindness, to developing compassion, because part of being compassionate is really noticing another person's experience. So in this sense, I think mindfulness, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like it could be the opposite of ignoring something, right? So instead of having blinders on and not stopping to smell the flowers, not being aware of our surroundings and the interests of other people, we're actually actively seeking to open ourselves up to and to recognize as it occurs, to any important, any phenomena that could be important. So I think it's crucial in enjoying our life. After reading this, just today I was coming home for lunch, and because this is on my mind, it's fresh. It's like I, notice the redness of the tree, like as the leaves are changing. We have this really bright red leaf tree that is in the front of my house, and then it's like in the beauty of the sunshine and like the color of the clover. And you just think, people can have all the money in the world and can live their whole lives with never actually learning to just let themselves like be in the moment and see the contentment and fulfillment in there. So, mindfulness is priceless.
Thank you. Actually, when you talk about being mindful about the suffering surrounding us, right? So yesterday we have on after school with the children, and some tutors show the video clips, and I told them, yes, we learned from Thanksgiving holidays themes. The theme is harmonies, the theme of sharing, the themes that we appreciate other people support for us. But on the other hand, they say that at least 45 million turkey were killed only one day, Thanksgiving holiday. 45 millions. So again, we need to be aware of this suffering not only for the humans, but also the animals. So I encourage them. Most of them are Buddhist children. Stay away from the turkey if they can. Sometimes they don't know. The parents ask them to consume anyway. So that's we need to be mindful. So I just want to have this input. All right, and how much you understand about these articles? Would you like to share?
Yeah, yes. This article, most of the article, I felt very easy to read, and it has a lot of contrasts and also references and that link to the original historical Buddha and so on and so forth. So I like that concept as an analytical person. But I think I get out most of it, or it helped me on the daily practice. I guess just reinforced me, like what William was saying, like the awareness piece. And what I think of it is that the state of awareness, a state of aloneness, and then we put full attention to our own present moment. And the key, I saw that a couple words in that I really like. I don't remember which paragraph, but it says something about remember to be aware. That alone, actually, in my daily life, when I use this example, or not example, it's actually happening all the time. When I get angry, when I get emotionally upset, when I drive on the car, somebody passed by me. Before, I tend to react pretty quickly, like a cartoon where a guy changed to a wolf while I'm driving. Somebody cut me off or something. But through studying Buddhism and a meditation type of thing, it helped me. Every time something happened like that, it say remember, be aware. So be aware of my emotion, not necessarily suppressing it. If I'm aware that my emotion going right, if I'm gonna speed up, I'm gonna flip him off. Things are gonna get escalated and maybe bad. So that moment there, I saw myself. Hey, that's okay. I saw that moment that guy just went by and looked at me strangely, and he just fly by. That's okay. I let it go. So I think that is very realistic, real practice that we need to use in my life. And also one other thing was the concept of awareness, but then through that awareness, we do not want to, I should not learn to not non-judgmental on those emotions or feeling that came by. We recognize it, but don't put like a weighting on it, like a non-judgmental thing. Okay, so that's something that, and then also the concept of by awareness of it, you can learn to be walk on the shoes of the other people walk, so that you can relate to them. Why are they saying it, or why is it that I feel that way? So I learned to try as much as I can to walk in other people's shoes, rather than, and then that maybe is learning how to be a little more compassionate, have a compassion as well. And that's why I learned the most, or helped me remind me some of those concepts in my own daily living. Thank you, Thầy.
You understand? You want to share how much you understand about this?
Consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. How much you understand about these articles? I think about mindfulness, the meanings of mindfulness, and so forth. You want to share? Ben, you want to say something?
Yeah. Like in Western culture, we're taught. I think therefore I am. I can't remember the philosopher right off the top of my head. I'm sure the people online can help me out. But we're always taught about the intellect and going to school and growing in knowledge, and there's nothing wrong with that. But from this article and the mindfulness, it's like there's the time to be still and to be aware of our surroundings. There's not always this logical process that we continually have to do. The example this week is my friend, his father passed away. So he called me, he was freaking out, and we normally hang out on Wednesday, and he's like, so you're gonna come pick me up on Wednesday night, still, right? And it's obviously emotional. And I was just, I used it. I was like, okay, just calm down, just tell me how you're feeling. Let's talk on the phone right now, and just let's process this together, instead of getting too far ahead. So it helped him out hopefully a little bit. So,
Yes, how are you? So we talk a lot, right? Non-judgmental approach, acceptance, compassion. We talk about that. Right?
So the Vipassana meditation, the Satipatthana, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, that breaks it all down, and that style of meditation breaks down how to do each step of what to think, or what to come. With the loving kindness, Karaniya, loving kindness is the way to meditation to develop compassion. The shamatha is to develop the concentration. Anyways, and so it kind of explained how the therapists or whatever could use different aspects of these more Buddhist style meditations or way to process in the moment, rather work from the bottom. Is it bottom up?
This one is bottom up.
This is the one you work from the bottom up. Western is from the bottom up. So it kind of broke down how a mindful therapist, mindful-based therapist, could apply the principles differently.
Debbie, you would like to share about what you know, what you understand about these articles? Yeah, so your mic, please. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I've been having a lot of technical problems. I had to switch to my phone because my pad was not working. But when I was reading the articles, it reminded me of what actually brought me to Buddhism in the first place. And that was my behavioral therapist. I was dealing with depression and chronic pain. And I sought out therapy instead of drugs to help with the depression. And she recommended mindfulness meditation to me. And that kind of set me on the path that I'm on now. So reading the articles kind of supported the things that she was trying to teach me in the first place. And it really clarified a lot of things. I thought they were easy to read and they were very clarifying. And I liked how they did tie in both Western applications for it along with the traditional treatment.
Okay, I think most of us understand the basic information, meanings of mindfulness, meditation. We samatha is in concentration. We can focus on any object. In the Buddhist tradition, we have 40, but anyway, we have a lot. We can focus on the color. We can focus on the light, candles. We can focus on the water and so forth. As long as they are neutral objects, we talk about that, right? If we focus, so let's say if we focus on the one we love so much, what happens? We have tendency to attach to them, right? If we think about someone give us hard times, we call them or we label them as our enemies, we would feel a lot of irritation, we have anger, right? So that's why we need to focus on the neutral object, like the breath, what the water, so that we can bring the mind down, calm the mind down, to bring the mind back to the equilibrium position. That's what the purpose of samatha concentration is about. Vipassana means mindfulness. It means whatever we do, we pay attention on. Yeah. Okay, so here today, want to answer?
Oh, so like if you have anger in your life, you know, or turmoil, is meditation the only solution, or you know, how do you calm the racing?
Okay, William, would you hear that? You hear Ben's question?
Yes.
Yeah, would you like to respond, please?
Wow. Well, I think with anger, the best thing I've found, and that I think is matches the Buddhist teachings, calming down first. So some way to calm down, you could lay down, and it could be in any posture, right? Meditation can be in any posture, but yeah, I think like initially focusing on one thing, redirecting away from the source of the anger to something neutral, like samatha meditation, like Tay is speaking about, lets me disengage from the subject to give me a little bit of space. Because generally, like if someone else becomes angry, I can very clearly see that they're angry and that they didn't really need to be angry, and they could calm down and it could be better. But when I'm first person very angry, like if I'm angry, it's like, it's so hard to you can't really think out of it. Like the more I think about the thing I'm angry about, it's kind of satisfying to think about it. And then I think about how I'm right to be angry and how the other person is wrong. And if I go and talk to someone, you know, I want them to agree with me that I'm right for being angry. And if they don't, then I'll get kind of angry at them. So it really seems to me that, yeah, the best thing is to like disengage from the content that's like making me angry. And I use my breathing. I'll direct to my breathing. And then I just don't try to solve the anger. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to change it. I just redirect my focus to breathing. And then gradually I relax, and then insight follows without effort. So like the understanding and the insight and like not making it worse follows without effort. But then when I'm calm, sometimes I need to kind of contemplate and think, okay, what's the right action here to improve? If my anger, if I acted on it and I hurt someone else, like depending upon the person and the relationship, there may be a different way to address it. Like some people in my life wouldn't really want me to come and apologize. They would just want me to do better next time and would just want to move on. But someone else, it might be very important to like go and then have a conversation and apologize and address my role in it. So I think, yeah, like the elements that make up meditation for me are the only way I know to really effectively like resolve anger without causing more trouble before it goes away.
Thank you. Suppose as your cars got fire, or anything, something got fire, what should you do first?
Put out the fire.
Yeah, simple. Yeah, right. When you have that type of anger is like a fire. So made to put down that type of fire angers by using many methods. Take out the wild, take out the wood, take out the things that burning, or step away, like William just say, disengage from that type of sin, that type of people. If you cannot handle that fire, if too hot, step back. That's the first, what we call the first aid, the most important step that we need to do first. And after that, yeah, you can do all kind of practices like follow the breath, contemplate about the nature of problems, suffering. If we want to react in the angry way again, we bring the suffering for both and so forth. But the first thing is to step away. If you cannot put down the fire, just step away, disengage that. Yeah. And For me, I apply this kind of method so many times. If someone irritates me, it's better for me to step away. Yeah, because at that moment, the moment that am I so irritated, the moment that we have so much anger, whichever thing we say, whichever thing we do, is totally wrong. You understand what I'm talking about, right? Because we act out with our wisdom, we act out with the emotion. We let the emotion control. I would say we don't let the wisdom to lead us. So that's why it's better to disengage, to step back. Michael, what do you think? Does that work for you?
I wholeheartedly agree. That's one best thing about COVID, working from home. If I get frustrated, I go take the dog for a walk. So it's nice out. The leaves are changing. So that's what I usually do, is go take the dog for a little 5-10 minute walk and come back and finish up.
Yeah. How about Debbie? What do you think? How you approach to anger or whichever may irritate your mind?
I've actually had to use the stop and take a breath and count method recently, but it does help. When you get angry, you just literally step back, take a breath, and then you can continue. And in that pause, that's where you can regain control.
In the mindfulness-based therapies, the ACT, acceptance cognitive therapies, they talk about diffusion, the universal diffusion, take out the fire, to step back, to disengage. So, Anand, what do you think about this type of techniques, this type of steps that we need to do when we deal with this type of situation?
Mô Phật Thầy, yes, it works miraculously. Yes, it worked on me. A major event of my life. Yes, and when you read the articles, there's when we talk to down to like the daily living, you read a lot of articles and theories and so on and so forth. If we don't practice just a little bit, just a few things, pick a couple of things out of this concept of meditation, like we talk about, disengage. If you're so hot temper, that the first thing, every time there's something hot going to happen, you got to take away the woods, stay away from a fire, walk away from a fire. So I always do this. When I learn about more Buddhism, the first thing I do is stop talking, if I can. And I should. And I need to stop talking. Like, Debbie and William mentioned, step back or physically walk away. That buy our time. And then if we have a chance that we learn about meditation, just 30 seconds, 1 minute meditations, that if we practice, it will bring back to my comment earlier about remember what? Be aware of what? Aware of my emotion, aware of my breath. At that moment, that instantly in my daily living, if I'm frustrated, I'm angry, step away, stop talking, aware, take a breath. That if we do that, that diffuse, like Thầy mentioned, diffuse the anger, not suppressing it, just diffusing it. And then when we are at peace, at calmer, then like William said, the insight of when we're at calm in different situations, maybe we cannot solve it, at least we can see the options rather than just blindly all the emotion that running, everywhere. So that's my realistic example that in my life that I had happened to me, and Thầy Master have advised me on these things, and it does work. A major crisis in my life. So I think it's really real practicing, and if we do it, even a minute of meditation, and when things happen, it will help. Thank you, Thầy.
Yeah, thank you. Plus, in our house, we have fire extinguisher. fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher.
You understand that? Yeah, we have to have that. So that when some fire going on in our house or somewhere else, we need to put it out. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That means in every day you need to practice this. So don't wait until the time is too hard for us to handle. Every day when we do the practice, meditation, compassion, and so forth, you'll be more helpful.
Proactively.
Yeah, we train ourselves. We train ourselves to get used of calming our mind. So when we deal with that type of situation, when someone try to irritate us, or someone try to press the burden on us, we can handle that. Otherwise, not easy. Even if we try to disengage ourselves and step back, but the anger is still there. So the best or the long-term solution is to do the practice, the daily practice. So Thân Thiện, you have that kind of experience, right?
Yeah, more Phật thầy. Yeah, I think when I encounter someone who has angry tone, angry look, it's very easy for me to step in. I think it's better not to step into the fire, but step away from it, and let that person to settle that fire down before we can talk to that person. I think it's better to practice mindfulness so that you won't be able to step into the fire.
So, Baker, how can you handle that? Is that the good step for you, good approaches for you?
Sometimes, yes, but for my job, I see a lot of students every day. So there's always a lot of emotions, some happy, but mostly not very happy. So for me, I can't step away in the moment when there's angry emotions going on. So a lot of times I have to do like a walking meditation afterwards, or something like that, where I'm still able to reset my pace and become self-aware and not be upset from when I see my next set of students, but I can't always step away in that moment.
Okay. So again, anger is one of the, what would I say, poison of the mind. You know what's been poison of the mind? Because when we keep that anger in our mind, it's burn ourselves out before we harm others. That's similar as poison.
In the Bible, it says it's like cancer in your bones.
Yeah, same way.
What are the 5 hindrances?
The 5 hindrances?
What are they?
Oh, okay. In the articles, you say clearly, right? This is
Yeah, I did write it down, but it clearly I just don't remember.
Okay, let me pull out for you. Yes. Okay, so yeah, that I want to share with you what probably we can talk about next time too. Okay, let's see the 5 hindrances here. Okay. So basically the sleepiness. This is, let me scroll down. The rumination. Rumination, that means have a lot of thought, a lot of thinking, right? Let's see here. And so William, you remember the 5 hindrances? Remember that? Oh, we cannot hear you, William. Yeah.
The sleepiness and restlessness, yeah, those 2 you mentioned, and then doubt, I know is the 5th one. And I feel like excessive desire has to be one, but I can't recall the other 2 actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Is forgetfulness one? Maybe forgetfulness.
Sense desire.
Yeah. Here I will pull out here. Okay. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Remember we talked about bottom up, right? Not that the top down, right? Okay. And mindfulness in context. We will talk about that later on. Yeah. Oh, this we have this article. Anyway, yeah, I forgot that part too. So definitely sleepiness, restlessness.
Ill will.
Yeah.
Sense, desire, ill will.
Oh, desire. Yeah, anger. Desire, anger.
Sense, desire.
Oh, right here. Okay, here. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, ill will, anger, right? Senses. So craving, anger, restlessness, and doubt. Okay, so these are the 5 hindrances, right? Okay, so before we still have some minutes, I'd like to introduce just with you about what we call the 3 ways of therapies. Right. So we know that this way, William, right? The first way, behavioral therapies. The second one is cognitive therapies, called cognitive behavioral therapies. And the third way now is mindfulness-based stress reduction and so forth. Mindfulness-based therapies. William, you know what's the behavioral therapies?
Yeah. So based on conditioning, so a behavior therapy could be, I mean, it requires a little bit of mindfulness, definitely. But correct me if I'm wrong, but like if I notice I'm angry, I walk away. Like that, I could condition myself to have that sort of reflex where I'm not necessarily like, it could be just that could be the reflex to change my behavior in a situation by like a regular conditioning process over time.
Yeah, thank you. I want to share with you this information so that they can recognize how important mindfulness practice is nowadays for therapies. This is third way. That's why it's getting popular. And many of my students, as much as I understand, watch some video clips, they put in practice within a couple of weeks to change them too. So the first way we call behavioral therapies. Let's talk about avoiding, instead of avoiding the stimulus, the therapists help them to understand that things is not as bad as they seem. For example, let's say if I have what we call the high fear, high phobia. That means when they stand in front of the cliff, right? For example, it freak me out. So instead of having that type of phobia, I would work with my therapist to come and say, "Oh, nothing. You're still here. You are on the edge of the cliff, but you're still safe." So this kind of what we call behavior therapies to help the patient to recognize it's not that bad. You follow that, right? And the next one, what we call the second way, cognitive behavior. Let's see here. Michael, you understand about this or no? No?
Nope, I'm waiting for you to teach me though.
Okay. Becca, you understand about this? Oh, you are, okay, you are international. You understand about second way, what's meant by cognitive behavior therapies, you know about that? Can you give us an example and so forth?
I remember us going over it in class, but I honestly don't remember how to explain it. Sorry.
That's okay. Here, cognitive behavior is like the replacement of the thought. If someone has the problem with depression, they have all kind of negative thoughts about themselves and others. So the therapist's job is to encourage the patient to think positively That means to replace the negative thought by the positive one. So that's what cognitive therapy is. It works for some, but not all. That's why it come down to the third wave of therapies is the mindfulness-based. So instead of replacing the negative thought with the good thought, the positive, you don't need to replace anything, because what you say, the more we resist, the more it's persist. The more we push, the more it spring back. You understand that? So in this third way of therapies, you don't need to replace anything. You need to accept them as the way they are. You need to recognize, be aware, accept, and let them go. Simple. That's the third way here. And especially when we talk about the MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapies, is focused on this, that you accept your own emotion. You make friends with your emotion, whether it's good emotion, bad emotion, good thinking, bad thinking, you recognize and let them go. Not push them away, not to replace them. That's what the third wave is about. That's why it's getting popular. William, like, what do you think about these three ways you learned before, right? You know much about them, right?
Only briefly, and having not gone over them, this is recently, this was a good review. And each three seems to make sense and seems to also require mindfulness, because so the first one, to desensitize oneself to it is it requires a mindfulness to be present in the moment and to give up reaction. And then the second one also requires mindfulness, because we need to be aware of our thinking and what part of the thinking is irrational. I could give an example of that, but I don't think I need to. And then and so they seem to be connected.
Yes, they connected, but somehow they have not recognized before the third wave. That's why for the first one, right, the first wave, they have therapies. They can train the patient to understand the problems. It's not as bad as they think. Right. For the second wave, they did try to encourage the patient, right, to replace the good one. Yeah, it's involved with some kind of mindfulness, with some kind of awareness, but they didn't really focus on that until the third wave. And that led to mindfulness-based direction, mindfulness, MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapies, DBT, ACT, and so forth. So probably next week, I will put this information on the Google Drive, right? So you can go out and read them. I think it's really helpful. And actually, I'm teaching my student in this mindfulness class. It's so important. It's so critical. That's why nowadays so many psychologists utilize the third wave that relate to mindfulness-based therapies. It's so important. That's here. You can see here. This one is understandable. The traditional therapies will replace harmful behavior of get trained, seek to change the problem behavior by changing the thought. Right? And the last one is to accept them as the way they are. Cognitive diffusion. Probably I may go over briefly about acceptance, cognitive therapies. We talk about diffusion too. Yeah. This one here. This is about the cognitive behavior. Thoughts, great feeling great behavior. Behavior reinforced thought is a cycle. And here, major impact for third wave psychotherapies. So this is actually John Carbasin. William, you remember him?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, he's very well known.
Yeah. Can you share who he's?
I just know that he's really well known in the field of mindfulness-based interventions for psychology, and has been for quite some time. He's done a lot of research, published a lot of papers. He gives talks all over the world, and teaches this approach. And he acknowledges that it's coming from a Buddhist thought.
Debbie, you recognize him? Debbie?
I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat that, please?
Do you recognize John Kabat-Zinn? You recognize him?
No, it seems like I do, but no, it doesn't ring a bell like I think that it should.
Yeah.
I know that my therapist was actually kind of in the same boat as him, though, because I know that she does write a lot of papers, and she has given talks, at least throughout Europe and the United States. But John Kabat-Zinn, I'm not, no.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's like the main or authority, I think, when developing a lot of these protocols. And so yeah, there's lots of stuff you can listen to on YouTube and podcasts and TED Talks.
Yeah, actually, he followed Theravada tradition to practice Vipassana so many years, and I think he was former monk too, because in Theravada tradition you could be a monk for short periods of time. And when he went back to Massachusetts, he got PhD degree and he taught there. And somehow in the 70s, he promotes this kind of third wave therapies, mindfulness-based threat reduction, and from MBSR, mindfulness-based threat reduction, it spread to MBCT, DBT, ACT, and so later on. This is all series, all kind of versions of mindfulness-based therapies, and people could get the certificate to teach at communities and so forth. So he's still a popular one. Anyway, so I think if you don't mind, we can talk about this thing so that we can see the important application of mindfulness practice, not only amongst Buddhists or spiritual people, but also for the secular people, and why it's so effective nowadays, why it's so important for us to do the practice nowadays. Okay. All right, so let's just stop here today. So I will put this type of PowerPoint information on the Google Drive, and you can pull out and read anytime. So I think PowerPoint is more understandable, right? Easy to read, right? All right, so thank you then. All right, so thank you. So see you then. Thank you. So Debbie, you like to say a little bit? All right, I like to talk with you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so thank you, Becca. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.